Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here. Heads up, I'm going for my second viewing of Aquaman later on today. As soon as I get back, I will be recording my full spoiler review. It's going to be a long video. It's going to be a detailed video. So if you don't want to watch that because you haven't seen the movie yet, just be pre-warned. I'll be putting spoilers on the video anyway, so you know. So I'm really excited to finally be able to talk about a film I watched like 2 months ago. Anyway, right, this isn't about Aquaman. This video is called Supergirl, You Have Failed National City. Now, I've always been a Supergirl fan since the 1984 film. I'm one of the few people who loves that film. So I was really excited when they announced they were doing a TV show on the CW. At the time, I was watching Arrow, The Flash. I was really excited by Arrowverse back then. So it was exciting to have this new show. Supergirl, obviously, who's Superman's cousin, big Superman fan. I was so excited. And I remember seeing the 3-minute trailer, the 5-minute trailer, should I say. It looked amazing, and I was really excited about it. And then I saw the pilot, which mostly I really enjoyed, until I heard Alex say, "Is it because she's a woman?" Then I knew we were in trouble. But ultimately, to be honest with you, the first season was okay. The second season became very problematic, and it's become worse and worse and worse. So yesterday I spoke about what they did to Superman on Elseworlds. It was despicable, and I'm really happy that John Campion did a rant video about it as well, where he said that literally they pulled his pants down, and made him look like a twat. And actually, John was saying that he thinks the CW have always hated Superman. They never waste an opportunity to make him look bad. But then I was thinking about something that John said, and I realised something. I believe the reason they wanted Superman to look so bad in that final episode is to try to prop Supergirl up. Supergirl, oh, Kara, my favourite Kryptonian. Who needs Superman when you've got Supergirl? These were very transparent wordings. Now, I do think they were going for Superman a bit because he's a man, and they're very anti-man, the people who write on Supergirl and on Arrowverse altogether. We know their agenda. But maybe there's another reason why they did this. And I think the reason for this is that Supergirl is a failing show. The ratings are just not good. The ratings have been going lower and lower and lower since the pilot. The pilot had record-breaking ratings on CBS, but actually CBS actually cancelled the first season. But because CBS co-owned the CW with Warner Brothers, they threw it over to there, and it's been on the CW ever since. But the ratings are not very strong, and they've just got worse and worse and worse. So I think they're in a bit of trouble with Supergirl, and I think they know they're in a bit of trouble over Supergirl. So I think in a desperate attempt, because they had all these new viewers watching the crossover, I think they took the moment to try and kind of do a Pied Piper thing where they could kind of say, well, you don't need Superman. You've got Supergirl. Watch Supergirl. She's amazing. Even Superman says she's better than him. And it's so transparent and so ridiculous because you can't prop up a bad show. And ultimately, Supergirl is a very bad show. This season is even worse because basically they've reduced the best character of the show, Win, to a guest star. And I don't even think he's been a guest star yet. I'm not sure because I'm not following this season. I can't watch it anymore. It triggers me too much. Supergirl is a fantastic character in the comics. I loved her in the film. I thought Helen Slater was magnificent. Whatever the flaws of the film, she really gave us a Supergirl you could embrace, fall in love with, look up to. And Melissa Benoist is a fabulous actor, and I do like Melissa. But at the end of the day, and she's a great Supergirl, but the show just does not work because they're obsessed with agendas and ideologies. And this is the problem with television right now, as we keep on saying. But people are walking away from this show constantly, and I believe this is why they did the whole Superman is not as good as Supergirl thing. It was just to get in your head so you could start watching Supergirl, but of course you're not. You don't care about Supergirl. It's quite funny actually because Supergirl wasn't even that good in this crossover. She was kind of a spare part while Oliver and Barry were having this argument at the Kent farm, the Smallville Kent farm. All she seemed to do really was try and convince Elseworld Alex that she's a good person. And that was very boring as well. I don't care about Alex. I don't care what happens to Alex. And basically, her other contribution was flying around with Barry in the end to try and slow down time. And that's it. There wasn't really anything else that she did. So if you're trying to convince people to watch her show, you've got to make her front and centre, at least in the episode, in the Supergirl episode. And that was Oliver's episode, really. It was all about him. It was all about the sacrifice he made and who he is as a person. And she wasn't really I was shocked. She wasn't even in the centre of her own episode. It was absolutely ridiculous. So how can you convince people to watch the show? What, because she stood there for 20 minutes trying to convince Alex she's a good person? Really? Really? And the whole thing, oh, Alex is kick-ass, she's so amazing. Listen, if people don't like Alex, they don't like Alex. You're not going to convince them. It's like they're trying to convince us that Alex is a good character. They're trying to convince us that this Supergirl show is worth saving. They've got John Jones, the Martian Manhunter, in their series, right? And they never utilise him properly. Never. I know the effect of making him the Martian Manhunter is expensive. But even when you think you've got David in this role, a very prominent British actor, he's brilliant. And obviously he's there, he's making money. He needs to bring up his family or whatever he's doing. He needs to eat. These people are not wealthy. They're not paid the money you may think, and they need to work. So whether he believes in the project or not, it's a job, isn't it? But they don't use him, they use David very sparingly. And when you've got prominent actors, you use them. The whole show just doesn't work as an entity. And it's funny, I was watching this crossover like I've watched other crossovers, and these shows just don't have a hook. None of them. They just don't have a hook. Let me compare it to Smallville. Smallville had a journey. Smallville was going to places. You had the dynamic between Lex and Lionel, Lex and Clark, Clark and Lionel, Clark and Lana, Clark and Chloe. Pete not liking the Luthers. There were so many interesting dynamics. And these shows don't have the same interesting dynamics. Now, you may argue and say, well, Smallville was a pre-Superman story. It was a prequel story. That's why it was going somewhere. But it wasn't just that. Characters had interesting dynamics. And they would fall out for more than an episode. Their lives weren't easy. It was electric. The character dynamics. This is one of the most important vital things why Smallville was so successful. It had meat on the bones, and these shows just don't do that. And that's why all their ratings are so bad. First 2 seasons of Arrow, first 2 seasons of The Flash, those shows had record-breaking ratings. What changed? They dumbed them down. You didn't need to dumb Supergirl down because it was already dumbed down. You didn't need to dumb down Legends of Tomorrow. It was already dumbed down. The mentality is so wrong. And personally, if I was Warner Brothers, if I was DC, I wouldn't even allow these people to have my shows, to have my characters. It's a disgrace when you see what they did with Superman, and blatantly they were using Superman to prop up the Supergirl TV series, to say, go watch Supergirl. You don't need me. I'm nothing. You don't need me. Listen, there was rumours about him having a show. So you see how clever they are. Well, they're not as clever as they think, are they? You don't need me. You don't need me to have a show. Supergirl's awesome. Supergirl is awesome. She was awesome in the film. She's not awesome in this TV series. And as I say, Melissa Benoist is a really good actor. She looks like Supergirl. She acts like Supergirl to a point. But the problem with all these Arrowverse shows is they always deflect back to the comedy. They're obsessed with forced and contrived comedy, which takes away in the excitement. It's like The Flash this season. It's doing some interesting things, but it always diverts back to those silly comedy episodes, those episodes that don't matter. The idea of doing filler episodes is that nobody notices they're fillers. And that quality has been lost these days. So that's my fault, really. It was a despicable attempt, basically, by putting Superman down, having him getting beaten. They wanted to, basically, by Superman getting beaten up all the time, and him saying, I'm going to go away and it doesn't matter because They don't need me, Cara. They've got you. And then Lois saying all that crap about women being stronger than men and all that nonsense, right? I don't want to get into that because it's just stupid. It's childish. I don't care who's stronger or who's more capable. I judge people individually. Some individuals are stronger than others, no matter what's dangling between their legs. As far as I'm concerned, that's my opinion. And really, it was an outrageous attempt to prop Supergirl up. It didn't work for me. It's not going to work for you. You're not going to go and start watching Supergirl. Supergirl is a pointless shit show that's so agenda-driven and it's got too much ideology like the rest of Hollywood movies and TV.